Good morning, Virgo. Chills mean something shifted. Body responded before mind caught up. Goosebumps arrived uninvited, unannounced, carrying information your conscious awareness hasn't processed yet. So when you get chills reading a title, hearing a phrase, encountering words arranged in specific order promising specific outcomes, what's actually happening? What triggered the physical cascade? What part of you recognized something worth responding to? The promise or the hope that the promise might be real? Because chills don't discriminate, don't verify, don't confirm truth from wishful thinking. Chills just mean your nervous system activated. Could be recognition, could be anticipation, could be desperate, wanting dressed up as knowing. Which is it for you? Can you tell the difference? Skin prickling, like static electricity building underneath. Overnight, single rotation of the planet, dark to light to dark again, 24 hours during which everything supposedly transforms from what it is to what it isn't yet. Magic timeline, convenient narrative device. The ultimate instant gratification promise, packaged as cosmic intervention rather than marketing tactic designed to activate your craving for immediate results without proportional effort. But let's pretend it's possible. Let's imagine life actually changes overnight, not metaphorically. Literally, you sleep one person, wake up transformed, different circumstances. Different options, different reality. What changed while you slept? What happened during those unconscious hours that rewired your existence? And if change can happen that fast, that completely, while you're doing nothing but breathing and dreaming, what does that make you in the equation? Passenger, recipient, subject of forces beyond your awareness or control. Is that empowering? Or is it just another flavor of helplessness wrapped in positive language? Heart rate increased and I'm not moving. Your life basically changes overnight. Basically, that qualifier doing heavy lifting because basically means approximately, essentially, fundamentally, but not exactly. Means close enough to claim the promise without being held to literal interpretation. Basically, allows room for everything to stay mostly the same while calling it transformation. Basically means you can wake up in the same bed, same job, same relationship, same patterns, and still claim overnight change happened because what? You feel different. You have new perspective. You decided something. And if perspective shift counts as life basically changing overnight, then life basically changes every time you learn something new, have realization, adjust how you're seeing situation you're in, which happens constantly, which means overnight change isn't special, isn't rare, isn't the dramatic intervention the title implies. It's just Tuesday, any Tuesday, where you thought differently than Monday and called it transformation. Is that what you're hoping for? Permission to call ordinary shifts dramatic change? Or are you wanting something bigger, more concrete, more undeniable? Mouth dry, like I haven't had water in hours. I got chills. First person, past tense. Someone else's experience offered as evidence, as proof, as reason. You should believe the promise being made. Someone else got chills. Therefore, you should trust what follows. But whose chills? Based on what stimulus? In response to which specific element of which specific moment? And why should their autonomic nervous system response validate your belief in overnight transformation? It shouldn't. It doesn't. Their chills prove nothing about your life except that you're susceptible to suggestion, to hope, to wanting so badly for change to be possible, easy, imminent, that someone else's physical response becomes your evidence. And that susceptibility, that willingness to accept someone else's chills as your proof, that's not openness, that's not faith, that's desperation. Desperation for change without having to be the one who creates it. Desperation for transformation without transformation work. Desperation for overnight results from long-term problems, which is understandable, human, normal, and also the exact thing that keeps you stuck exactly where you are. Waiting for overnight change instead of building daily shifts that compound into actual transformation. Can you feel the difference between waiting and building? Or does waiting feel like building because you're so convinced change is coming? Stomach fluttering like something trying to escape? Life changes overnight. Let's examine life. Not circumstances, not external conditions. Life. The experience of being alive, the quality of your daily existence, the internal landscape you navigate regardless of external circumstances. Can that change overnight? Can decades of conditioning, years of pattern building, months of habitual response, can all of that reorganize during sleep? Can neural pathways rewire while you're unconscious? Can belief systems you've held since childhood dissolve between dark and light? No, obviously not. Change, that deep, that fundamental, that comprehensive, it takes time, takes consistent choice, takes deliberate rewiring of automatic responses, takes catching yourself mid-pattern and choosing differently, takes failing at choosing differently, takes trying again, takes accumulation of small shifts that eventually add up to recognizable transformation. That's not overnight. That's sustained effort over time. That's the boring, unglamorous daily grind of becoming different than you've been. But boring doesn't sell. Gradual doesn't excite. Daily effort doesn't create chills. So we get overnight promises instead. We get basically changes. We get transformation without work, results without process, new life without having to become new person capable of sustaining it. And we believe it, want to believe it, need to believe it, because the alternative requires patience we don't have and effort we're not sure we can sustain. Shoulders tense like preparing for impact that hasn't arrived. Your life, possessive, belonging to you, under your authority, your control, your creation or neglect, your responsibility, your consequence, your daily choices accumulated into current reality. Your life, not happening to you, created by you, maintained by you, changed by you, or not changed, also by you. And if it's your life, if it's your creation, your responsibility, your consequence, then overnight change isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create through decision, through commitment, through choosing one night to stop doing what you've been doing and start doing something different. That choice can happen overnight. That decision can arrive in a moment. That commitment can crystallize between breaths. But the results, the actual transformation of circumstances, patterns, relationships, experiences, that takes time, takes follow through, takes choosing the same new thing day after day until it becomes automatic, becomes identity, becomes your new normal. So yes, your life can basically change overnight. If overnight means the moment you decide, if basically means the trajectory shifts even though circumstances lag behind, If change means internal commitment to different choices rather than instant manifestation of different reality, but that's not what the title promises, is it? The title promises external transformation, rapid results, waking up to different life without having to do the work of becoming different person. And that's fantasy. Might feel good to believe, might create chills to imagine, might give hope when hope feels scarce, but it's still fantasy. And living in fantasy prevents you from doing the actual work that creates actual change over actual time. Breathing uneven like rhythm forgot its pattern. Overnight changes do happen, sometimes, rarely. Lottery wins, accidents, unexpected deaths, sudden diagnosis, events outside your control that reorganize your reality without your input or consent. And those overnight changes, those sudden shifts in circumstance, they don't feel like victory, don't feel like answered prayers, don't feel like life basically improving. They feel like chaos, like disruption, like having to rebuild from rubble you didn't create and didn't choose. So when you're hoping for overnight change, when you're getting chills at the promise of rapid transformation, are you hoping for chaos, for disruption, for events beyond your control? Or are you hoping for the impossible thing, the fantasy thing, the thing where life improves dramatically without cost, without loss, without having to grieve what you're leaving behind or earn what you're moving toward? Because overnight improvement without cost, that doesn't exist. Every gain has price. Every transformation requires something be left behind. Every new life means death of old one. And that death, that leaving behind, that price, it's not overnight. It's gradual. It's grieving what was while building what's next. It's messy and uncomfortable and nothing like the clean promise of waking up transformed. So what are you actually hoping for? Clean fantasy or messy reality? Impossible promise or achievable process? Chills from fiction or satisfaction from building? Hands trembling and I'm done pretending they're not. I got chills. You're getting them too, probably. Reading this, hoping it confirms what you want confirmed, feeling your body respond to possibility, to hope, to the seductive promise that maybe, just maybe, overnight change is real and coming for you. And those chills, those physical responses, they don't mean anything except that your body reacts to stimulus, to hope, to fear, to anticipation, to words arranged in patterns that trigger autonomic responses. Chills aren't wisdom, aren't confirmation, aren't proof that what you're reading is true or that what's promised will manifest. Chills are just chills, body doing what bodies do when nervous systems activate, and using them as evidence, as reason to believe, as justification for hoping that overnight change absolves you from daily work. That's mistaking physical response for spiritual confirmation. Mistaking goosebumps for guidance, mistaking sensation for truth. Your body responds to lots of things: fear, excitement, cold, anticipation. None of those responses verify the stimulus that triggered them. None of those sensations confirm that what caused them is real, true, imminent. So feel the chills, notice them, acknowledge them, and then ask what they're actually responding to, the promise or your desperate wanting for the promise to be true, because that distinction, that's everything. That's the difference between being moved by truth and being manipulated by hope. Throat tight, like words are fighting to stay down. Your life basically changes overnight. Maybe it does. Maybe tomorrow you wake up and everything's different. Maybe some cosmic intervention reorganizes your reality while you sleep. Maybe luck strikes. Maybe chaos arrives. Maybe something beyond your control shifts everything. And if that happens, if overnight change actually occurs, what then? Are you prepared? Have you built the capacity to hold what arrives? Have you developed the skills to navigate new reality? Have you become someone who can sustain transformation, or are you still the person who needed overnight change because daily effort felt impossible? Because overnight change without internal growth, that's recipe for regression, for losing what arrived as quickly as it came, for returning to baseline because you haven't actually changed, circumstances just shifted temporarily. So even if overnight change happens, even if life basically transforms, even if chills meant something real, you still have work to do. You still have growing to become. You still have daily choices to make that either sustain the new or drag you back to the old. There's no escape from the work, from the process, from the daily choosing. Overnight change just means you start the work from different circumstances. It doesn't mean the work disappears. And if the work doesn't disappear either way, if you have to grow and choose and build, regardless of whether change happens overnight or gradually, then what's the difference? Why wait for overnight intervention when you could start the daily work now? Why postpone becoming who you need to be until circumstances force it? Why not choose it now, build it now, become it now, so that when change arrives, overnight or gradual, you're ready to receive it, hold it, sustain it? That's the question underneath the chills, underneath the promise, underneath the hope for overnight transformation. Are you willing to do the work, or are you just hoping circumstances change so you don't have to? Body heavy, like gravity increased when I wasn't paying attention. Truth isn't found in other stories. It's discovered in your own silence. No predictions, just presence. Stay curious, stay awake.